I'm here with the prestigious one and only founder of the Germination Project, Mr. Ajay. Raju, thank you for joining us here today. Thank you so much. So talk to us about the values behind Germination Project.
Well, we founded the Germination Project primarily because it's a 50-year bet to create a leadership ecosystem within the Philadelphia community. And here's why. Philadelphia is a tale of two cities. So for the bottom, I would say 60%. This is a city that leads the country in child poverty. Two of the poorest congressional districts in the country are located within walking distance of Center City. We have a broken school system, entrenched poverty, a culture of public corruption. You have a median household income that is $35,000 when the national average household income is $50,000. So for those Philadelphians, the future is bleak. But for the 40%, it's a different city. This is where millennials are rushing in, according to Forbes. More millennials are moving here than any other city in the country. $8 billion of construction within walking distance around the Penn area. We lead the country in healthcare. We grant more degrees than any other city in the country, even more than Boston. So for the 40%, there's an elastic imagination. So Sona, I saw a quote in Facebook once, and there was a bird sitting on a branch, and the quote said, "A bird sitting on a weak branch is not concerned about the branch collapsing because she's confident in the strength of her own wings." The Germination Project is created for the 40% who have the power of flight, who have social mobility, but who have committed themselves to this region to make sure that the Philadelphia that they love doesn't crumble underneath their feet. Well, the inspiration came from the idea that all of us are blessed with some talent, commitment, or resources, and if we inject into ourselves a sense of civic commitment, and if we collectively, in an incremental level, take ownership of our own city, then we control our destiny as a city. So this is an intentional 50-year long-term project and slowly cultivating leadership and finding those seeds of potential starting at the 10th grade level, which are the Germination Fellows. Tonight was draft day. And those kids who have been inducted stay in for life as long as they work here in Philadelphia. They may go away for college, but they must work here. And each year, new infusion comes in. As you have noticed, we also have partnerships with Wharton, Penn Medicine, Jefferson Health System, and TD Bank, and many others that were announced today. All of them are engaged in these service initiatives where these young people who have been selected will now be deployed back into the community in a long-term service projects.
Yeah, talk to us about the children that have been selected. I mean, initially there was 500, if I'm correct, and then from that you had to select 10, but this year you select 15. What is it that you have to see in those children to be selected to become one of these in part of the Germination Project?
Well, we selected 10 schools within the Philadelphia area.
Right.
We guaranteed them one seat.
Okay.
We asked them to submit their top 3 leaders. So we gave them guidelines of what we meant by leadership. And we told them that we may take all 3. So with those 10 schools, 30 from them, and then 500 plus applications, then we had to whittle it down to a manageable number. Remember, the commitment was no more than 15 or so, and that's why we have incoming class was 15. We had so many great candidates. Quite frankly, we could have had all 500. That would have been great.
Oh my God, that's absolutely amazing. And I was just talking to you earlier. I was saying that you are the spine behind this all. You're the one that sort of pushed everything forward. And people are recognizing your achievement and acknowledging what you're doing for these children. Talk to us how you got in this in the first place.
Well, you know, I'm certainly was engaged in the beginning. This project started with conversation between my daughter and I. My daughter is a 10th grader herself, Madison. She's 16. And you know, we have committed as a foundation to grant $1 million grant per year to this region. And part of that was inspiration from Madison. She said, you know, instead of giving it after you die, Dad, why don't you just give it away while you're alive? And we thought, if we're going to do that, we have to create a project that is meaningful and long-lasting. And a series of conversations developed, and then the Germination Project was conceived. But since then, our role was just minuscule. The real reason why there's a sense of excitement is because of the institutions that have signed on. It's the Wharton School that is taking on leadership responsibility and teaching those kids. They are our full partner for the foundation. 76ers and that foundation, they have taken on so much work, and the work that they're doing. Jefferson Health System, one of the most innovative health systems in the country, they're involved. The TD Bank on the financial literacy program, Achieve Now on the literacy program. There are about 32 organizations like that have signed on, not just as patrons, but instead as full-blown partners who are taking leadership of various components of the 4 service initiatives that we have.
Exactly. Well, it just goes to show that if Philly can do it, then everywhere can, you know?
We have a need here. We have great leadership. We also have great issues that we have to deal with. And it will not happen overnight, and this will take
No, it
a
takes
long
time.
time. But it's a commitment. We wrote the code for the modern world in Philadelphia a long time ago, and Philadelphia is where the birthplace of all great things happens. This was Mecca, and we're convinced that in our DNA, grit still exists, and all we're doing is reawakening greatness back in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to end it. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Sona.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Mine as well. Mine as well. Thank you so much.